Man, my boy Debo this man. Oh, nothing.
You know what's going down in the Bay. It's the Niner Empire, yeah, we came to play. It's forever going down in the Bay. Win, lose, draws, red and gold all day.
I was born in Santa Clara back in 1989 when Niners were in their prime and players would push the line. You could bet that over time my passion it grew stronger. Even when the championship team was no longer. Back in '04, I ain't never put my flag down. Never felt whether you could bet that I'll never back down. Even when we losing, I'm raising my flag higher. I'm a 49er rider, I'm repping that.
J-Red. I've been a fan since birth, man, I bleed red and gold. Last season was bad, this season we doing better though. So let it go, it's Niner Gang, don't forget it, bro. No matter what the record is, we still gon' rep it though. So reputable, yeah, we very nice. Legendary like Joe Montana and Jay Rice. I've been a fan since a young man. Does your team got enough rings for each finger on one hand? You know what's going down in the Bay. It's the Niner Empire, yeah, we came to play. It's forever going down in the Bay. Win, lose, draws, red and gold all day.
Bang, bang, it's the Niner Gang in this thing, bruh. I ain't never changed up, my team been the same, bruh. Since the days of Deion Sanders and Joe Montana. When I was young, jamming Heavy D and MC Hammer. So never get it confused, I'm forever repping red and gold. Till I'm dead and cold, I won't hesitate to let you know. Whether they're 0-11 or 11-0, headed to the Super Bowl, I'm rocking with the movement, bro.
It's the Niner Gang, I put that on everything. Since 85 on my mama, it won't never change. Straight from sack, headed to the game. With a clique of individuals, they mind frame the same. And we all getting turned up, really turned up. Yelling at the refs, trying to get the players worked up. NFC West, we gon' get it crackin'. The quest for 6, we gon' make it happen.
You know what's going down in the Bay. It's the Niner Empire, yeah, we came to play. It's forever going down in the Bay.
Black song.
Win, lose, draws, red and gold all day.
It's going down in the Bay. Red and gold, baby. San Francisco, where the fans go crazy. Putting in work since the 1980s. 5 gold rings, that's what the team gave us. Shout out to David, Joe Montana, and Rice. No Laura Bowman. Yeah, we do it nice. Trying to score every time we get the ball. But one thing for sure, yeah, we all came to ball.
Red and gold be the colors, ain't no running or fading them. It's the Empire, baby. Welcome to Levi Stadium. Other cities be hating them. Dynasty over here. 1st and 10 every time to the goal line with no fear. Touchdown, hold the ground or receiving. I'm repping the Niners, and it don't have to be football season. A real 4 and 5 RIP to Candlestick Park. It don't matter where we play. San Francisco was in our heart.
Man, way to start the show off, man. Niner Empire, man.
Niner Empire.
At least we can feel a little good. At least we can feel a little good today, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, man. First and foremost, this is Akeem. This is the 49ers podcast. What's your name, brother? Let's start it off right.
And this is Blair Coates.
There it is, man. There it is. But look, this is what it is, man. So, like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I slept on it, and I'm a ball coach. So, you know, as being an old ball coach, you know what I mean. You analyze things better the next day. I was passionate and emotional yesterday, so I tweeted some things that I felt like today I want to talk about it a little more.
Yeah.
And I think we can talk about it. I think the man's over there. I think he's right over there in our corner over there. Oh, he's in the corner over there, Jimmy G. So let me open it up and say this, man. So I tweeted, we need to get rid of this guy. This guy needs to go. He was scared. I thought about it, man. I have a bad day at work sometimes. I'm just not on my game. Sometimes I'm not focused. Sometimes I'm not there. And if I'm feeling sick, I'm really not myself. If I'm really hungry, then I get real angry. You know what I mean? So my patience is not there. So Jimmy's human. It's his worst performance that we've ever seen in Niners history, as him being a Niner. But what I will say is that today, I mean, tomorrow I'm going to look at the film, right? I'm going to look at what we could have done better. And I think when we got behind as fast as we did, we were punched in the mouth. Like, we had a plan. Like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get punched in their mouth. When we got punched in our mouth, we didn't no longer had no plan. Jimmy G was running for his life, but I did read Pro Football Focus. So Pro Football Focus, hold on.
No worries.
No, I'm trying to bring it up right because here we go. Here it goes. So Pro Football, it says Jimmy G finished with a Pro Football grade of 31.3, the lowest grade ever as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So, but he was only pressured 6 out of the 20 dropbacks. However, his 2 interceptions came on dropbacks where there was no pressured blitz. Mm-hmm. And that to me set me back a little bit. But I said, you know what? I'm going to give Jimmy G the remainder of this season. I'm going to give him the remainder of the season. And the reason why I'm going to give him the remainder of the season is because I feel like that I have an obligation. I have an obligation to make, because I've seen him great. I've seen him throwing the ball really well. So I'm going to give him an opportunity, and we're going to see how that looks for the remainder of the season. And I'm going to be the judge. And if he doesn't do well by the end of the season, then we need to go another direction. What are your thoughts on the game?
Well, first, I was upset with the performance. I was upset with the lack of effort of the team. I think you and we were texting about this. It feels like the team slightly gave up somewhere in the second half. Mm-hmm. When I look at the beginning of the game, Jimmy G, he's not looking confident in his throws. He's missing some throws that should be there for a professional quarterback that's getting paid the amount that he's being paid. Mm-hmm. And so when you have this issue where there's not the cohesiveness with Jimmy G and his receiving core, and then as you just spoke to, the deficit being down early, I don't think Jimmy G ever got into a rhythm, and he hasn't gotten to a rhythm this season for him to have the ability to come back, okay, from being down points. Right now, he's not ready to be the comeback kid. So when you look at that and you look at the game, we were in a terrible position from the second quarter going forward, okay? And it's not just Jimmy G. Of course, he made a stink of the entire game. He looked bad. He did not look like a QB1. He looked like a glorified backup. And to be honest, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a backup. Okay, Ryan Fitzpatrick is traditionally a backup. He's a journeyman. And if you see the skill set, he completely outplayed Jimmy G. And that's kind of a problem. When your franchise quarterback cannot outplay someone who is just holding a seat until Tua takes over, you should be worried about that as a franchise. Defensively, I mean, offense had their issues. Offensive line looked terrible. Trent Williams, you got to wake up. McGlinchey, he did not look as bad this game, which is so surprising to me.
He gave up a sack, though.
The game that Trent Williams just looks atrocious. McGlinchey doesn't look as bad, gives up the sack. But let's move to the defense. Robert Salah, what is going on in his head when he thinks of the scheme? I know we want to run the zone. We're getting picked apart, right? You have a third string, fourth string cornerback in.
You got to give him some help.
Nose man land.
Yeah, you got to give him some help.
So it was an all around team effort to lose this game. I think the serious issue is QB1. I mean, I'm just going to call it like I see it. I know we want to give him the remainder of the season, but I'm a realist before I'm a Niner fan. If Jimmy G comes out in this next week and he looks remotely even close to what we seen on Sunday, he's not going to get the remainder of the season. You're going to have to go with CJ Beathard. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's already going to have the cake on his face because he went with the guy. He's made a few decisions with players that have not worked out. Jimmy G right now at this point is looking like it's not working out. He has a very short leash. Okay. He has to come out and progress. And I'm not just saying like, don't take sacks. You actually have to look like a franchise quarterback, I think, in this next week, or you're going to get pulled.
I agree, man. It was hard for me to watch. I mean, just like I said, me being a coach of football, it was hard for me to watch because it was more of why are we still running our same scheme as if we can cover? That first touchdown should have told you we cannot cover. And I was telling you before the show, anybody with number 48 is trash. I've never seen anybody I've ever played against, NFL, college. You number 48, you're garbage. So I knew when I see him on the island, his glove game, his whole swag in his uniform was looking real weak. I was like, we're in trouble. No confidence. And even when he was getting burned, like you looked at him on the sideline, he was just wiping his face off like it was. I'm still in.
Well, he's playing out of position.
See, this is why our receivers look so damn confident coming out of practice because they go against him in practice squad. Like they are lighting his ass up. Like he is terrible. I mean, the only play I seen him make was when he came up and tackled in open field. They said, "Okay, we can't run this way. We can show pass it." It was like 4th and damn near 30, and they bombed us out, bro. It was like, cover one? Ha.
Yeah.
Like,
but do you blame him? Do you blame a practice squad player being brought up and getting torched? I don't blame him. I blame Robert. But really, and this is one of our talking points that I wanted to get to a little bit later, but we just segued right into it. Really, it's interesting. So Dante Whitner comes out and says Ahkello Witherspoon is soft, right? Spells it out, says he's soft. And his reasoning for saying that he's soft is because Ahkello Witherspoon, he was ready to go. He could have played. He could have started the game. But what I'm hearing is it was a player's decision, his decision not to go ahead and start the game. For me, I don't think it's not so much soft. I mean, his confidence is shot. I can't sit here and blame Brian Allen, a practice squad player, for getting torched. He's supposed to get torched. That is why he's on the practice squad and not starting somewhere. But Ahkello Witherspoon, even though he is not an elite corner, he would have did a better job. And I don't understand his reasoning for not coming in. I look at the defensive coordinator. Why aren't you convincing this guy to go ahead and go in? I'm looking at our head coach. Why aren't you pushing him to go in? You're putting your team behind. You're down 2 scores, and then you're trying to come back with the offense that's not in rhythm yet. Catastrophic mistakes all around.
Robert Saleh, I'm starting to be concerned. He's only available. I mean, he only can play with elite players. Nick Bosa, the Richard Shermans, and the rest of our guys. We got some guys who are fucking really good. I'm really concerned with his next move. Like, I don't know what's wrong with Sherm. A calf injury? I mean, what's going on with Sherm? Like, he should be playing. And Ahkello Witherspoon, you going to trot out there like you the savior of the 49ers when your boy was getting toasted. Dante Whitner said it the best, man. You are soft. I've been saying this for a very long time that I thought he was a questionable corner. I'm not sold on him. No dog. Like, if you was a dog, you would have started that game. I don't understand how you can dress for a full game and not be ready to go. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Jamar got burned too. Like, they went after all the guys who just wasn't with our team, and that was smart. I mean, smart. Take advantage of what we do well. I know their receivers before the game was like, "Oh, we about to eat. About to eat. This is unacceptable behavior." So let me break down Robert Saleh a little more. Okay. I'm noticing also too that he only blitzes on 3rd down. There's no first down blitzes. I mean, I don't see first down blitzes at all, and that's concerning. Most really good D coordinators try to blitz on first down and get a negative play so it can be second and long, make you pass. That's predictable. So now we're in a predictable series that's second down. So we stop you there, right? Because we know you're passing. Now you're in third and long. This is kind of normal scheme-ish football. He's not doing none of that.
You know what you just called it? It's situational football. What you just said, man.
Yeah, and I don't see it. I don't see it, and I also don't see. I was watching early Rams film because I watched the Rams game, the screen game. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. We don't defend the screen well. We don't defend running quarterbacks well. Man, we don't defend the deep ball well.
Yeah.
We have 5th and 6th corners out there. I mean,
yeah.
Williams was Williams was a hard loss, bro. That was a hard loss when Williams went down. He at least shored up the inside. I don't know,
this
man.
team is just depleted. It's depleted with injuries, and I hate for that to be the excuse. I mean, that was kind of what we were saying last season with 15 players on the injury reserve. It's the same thing happening over and over again. We already discussed the people that need to do better is your strength and conditioning staff. We've already covered that, but now it's getting to a point where it's every week. You're just praying to get out of games with no injuries.
I can't let Shanahan off the hook either, man. Let's talk about Shanahan, man. Like 4th and 1, shotgun called. We're gonna give it a zone read. In it wasn't even a read. It was a zone run. Why? You're not confusing nobody. I don't understand. It was some questionable calls, man. Questionable calls. And Mostert, 11 carries, 90 yards. He was doing his thing, bro. Like when we're down 14-0, we catch up. We get 7. They score again, 21. Let's slow this game down. He's three and out, and throwing ball every down. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And you can tell as a coordinator, your quarterbacks just don't have it right now. He didn't have it.
He just did not have it. And
call some plays that you know he can make.
You got to get your quarterback in rhythm. And I think it feels like this is a broken record sometimes because we keep talking about this. Situational football with Kyle Shanahan is something that he just chooses to ignore. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at your 3rd and 2s, right? I remember in the Philly game, it's 3rd and 2. I don't know why he sends Jerick McKinnon 10 yards for a contested catch. Okay. Then you look at this week. You have 2 yards to go. Why are you in shotgun? That's just not situational football. And when you spoke about defenses, okay, so defenses are dialing in on what Kyle Shanahan is doing. And I hate to say this, but I kind of think defenses may have him slightly figured out. Why? Kyle Shanahan is comfortable running on first down every single drive. And it's like defenses go ahead, they fill the box, they give you minimal gain, you maybe get 2 or 3 yards, then you try to pass it, like you said, on second down. Jimmy G is inaccurate, or he throws the ball on the ground, or something happens, and now you're in your 3rd and long. We were in 3rd and long the entire day, and I'm not understanding why Kyle Shanahan doesn't pick up on that. I mean, it's almost like he's too analytical. He's too smart to be a head football coach. And I'm telling you, I said this previously, he gets in the way of his teams getting to that final stand. He keeps doing it. He did it in 2 Super Bowls. He's doing it this season. Someone said, hey, if Niner fans want to fire Kyle Shanahan, the Atlanta Falcons are going to pick him up. And I replied, well, what's the definition of insanity? Do you remember what this man did in Atlanta? He's going to do the same thing. He's doing it in his career, and the Niners really need to look at that. Front office needs to kind of have a conversation and ask, what is our scheme? What's our identity?
I don't know. I think I have to disagree, man. I like Kyle Shanahan. I think it's not that for him. I just think he needs consistent quarterback play. I think like people blame the Super Bowl on him. I don't know why. He put 28 points on the Super Bowl champions, right? Like I don't like he doesn't play defense. Yeah, you can call some plays to kind of slow it down, but you still got a head coach in the ear probably telling you keep going, force it. Like we don't know that conversation, so I don't blame that on him. This last Super Bowl, I don't blame it on him. We could not. We were up with 6 minutes left. Like Kyle Shanahan had us in position to win that football game. Who lost that game? We should have been completing some passes. He should have ran the football a couple times, but that's at the end of the game. He was the first-year head coach. I mean, not first-year head coach, but first Super Bowl. Yeah, second year, but first Super Bowl appearance as a head coach. That matters.
Yeah.
He didn't have a quarterback that I say was elite. We should be talking about Jimmy in the elite class right now. We're not talking about Jimmy in the elite class. Why is that?
No,
Well, why is that? Because, well, for one, he's either hurt or, when he's in the game, I just don't feel elite from him. I like him, but there's a lot of them I don't like. He looked scared in that game, bro. He looked afraid for his life. He was just throwing balls. What was the difference between him and Nick Mullins the last 2 weeks? That one before the half, he just threw it. I mean, he threw that so far over Ayuk. By the way, Brandon Ayuk's a baller. I mean, he's a straight baller. Him, Debo Samuel, George Kittles. We got action. We need consistent quarterback play.
We do. And to piggyback off what you're saying, just real quick, I study body language, right? Like I don't really, sometimes I listen to what people say, but if I'm in a conversation, I look at their body. What is their body telling me, right? And I look at this game. If you look at receivers on this 49ers roster, their shoulders are starting to do this. Their hands are starting to do this. And it's every time Jimmy G throws the ball to the ground, throws it behind the receiver, and doesn't lead them. People choose to ignore that Jimmy Garoppolo sometimes has really bad mechanics and terrible decision-making skills. So if you couple bad mechanics with terrible decision-making skills, you get those interceptions, those bonehead interceptions. It reminds you of when he threw 5 interceptions in a practice. I was watching this game, and I was on the phone with someone, and I said, don't be surprised if Jimmy G doesn't continue to throw interceptions in this game, because it's like when the dominoes start to fall for this guy, they fall bad. Yeah. And Jimmy G, he's on a very short leash. I don't think he has a year to keep the job. I just don't. I think Kyle Shanahan is very upset. I think Jimmy G makes Kyle Shanahan look like a bad evaluator of quarterback talent. Okay. And so you just have to, when you talk about a head coach, all of those things have to go into the account, because he passed on some quarterbacks for some defensive players. He did. Yeah. And so we're in the position we're in because he's seen something in Jimmy G that's not being displayed on the field right now.
Our offense looks good. I mean, our offense, we have the pieces. We need consistent play at quarterback, O-line. O-line is starting to look real shaky, man, especially that whole right side.
Yeah.
They're zero coverage blitzing us. Therefore, they have no respect for our quarterback. We're bringing everybody to the line of scrimmage. We're going to blitz you out until your quarterback can read who's open and who's not. And if not, we're going to sack you. They're just teeing off on us. And your boy, who's the backup tight end that you what's his
Charlie
name?
Warner.
No, Charlie, not Charlie. Was it Ross?
Ross Dwelly.
Dwelly. Oh, he got beat so bad. I saw Joe Montana against the Giants all over again in 1989. I was like, oh, Jimmy's about to die, dog. I mean, when he beat him like that, came off the edge, Jimmy fumbled. He had no choice. He didn't have no. He didn't have no choice. He didn't have no choice.
Yeah. It
just
was
wasn't
bad,
no choice.
The whole game. It looked bad. Like we looked weak. Okay, we didn't look like a threat. If I'm a team and I know that I'm playing the Niners, I'm looking at the chops, right? I'm looking at a team that can't protect the quarterback. They don't even know who their quarterback is at this point.
Yeah, and on Wednesday we'll discuss our opponent. But today let's keep it. Let's dial it in. So let's give some grades. Let's give a quarterback grade. What is we got 2 quarterbacks to play. So let's talk about Jimmy, and then let's talk about this backup. Man, I like CJ. So, but go ahead.
A grade for Jimmy G is it has to be an F. It absolutely has to be an F. As a professional quarterback, especially having the opportunity to be in the Kyle Shanahan system for a few years now. This is not Jimmy G's first rodeo. And so now you're getting to a point where you're looking for his skill set to progress. And just so far throughout the season, we have not seen that. I've said this off camera before. I think since the injury, we have not seen the same Jimmy Garoppolo. Since Kansas City took him out, we haven't seen the same. I think he started to pick it up last season, but just look at the game. He's throwing bonehead interceptions. He has to have an F. Now, CJ Beathard is what he is. He's a backup. He's going to have flashes of looking like a decent backup in the NFL at this level. He's not spectacular. He's not special. I'm going to give him a C. I'm pretty much always going to give him a C unless he does something like when he ran for 50, 60 yards for a touchdown. Then you might get bumped up above average. But he's always going to be average because that's the level of quarterback play that we're seeing from him.
So we go quarterbacks. F for Jimmy. And I think his accuracy was an F. I think his composure was an F. I think his footwork was an F. He was throwing off his back foot. I think his confidence was an F. I mean, he has an overall F. I mean, I don't even see anything he did well in the game other than tell the coach, all right, I'm all right with being benched, not complain. Had his little mask on the sideline. Let's go CJ. CJ was overmatched. I mean, we could tell the O-line wasn't playing well. CJ's always been a late deliverer. He doesn't have a good release. He doesn't have a quick release, so he struggles. He's always struggled with throwing the ball late, staring down receivers, 1-2, look. He struggles with that, and everybody saw CJ come in and thought CJ was going to do something for us. No,
I don't know why.
I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know.
Get a grip. You got to get a grip, man.
And nobody really wanted to talk about why Nick Mullins was not activated.
Kyle Shanahan's probably mad.
He's mad. He's mad at Jimmy. He benched Jimmy. Like I respect that as a head coach. Like I'm trying to win and you're not giving me an opportunity to win by throwing these picks. Sit down. How often does that happen?
It doesn't. And it's
That's
a
what I'm
sign
saying.
of a good coach. You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's a sign,
and
bro.
That's
like
why Kyle Shanahan's going to be around. You're absolutely right about
sit down,
that.
sit on the bench. You know what? You're not giving me a chance to win. Sit on the bench. Let's give a grade for running backs. What you got?
Man, Mostert is a dog. He's the
dog.
Him. There were some other people that came to play. Mostert came to play. I definitely was going to give him an A right off the bat. Mostert looked good. He looked healthy. He was making his cuts. He in pass protection, there were 1 or 2 blocks that I think he missed, but the entire offense is having communication issues right now. Like everyone is off. You're seeing people just out of position. Mostert, solid A. Did we see much of McKinnon?
Not really.
Not really, huh? Just
I don't know how many steps he had.
He got tackled a few times here and there. I mean, you can't. It was a small sample size, but it's going to be a D. There wasn't anything spectacular. There wasn't any scores. You didn't change the trajectory of the game. And Jeff Wilson, I seen him get a few plays, but it was just average runs. And I just think that's situational football. I don't think he was there to have any home runs himself.
What about Juice?
Juice finally had a touchdown. They said he scored his first touchdown in the last 10
the
years. That's crazy.
Yeah. He doesn't really get in, but he gets in passing.
He does. And see, Juice has had a quiet season, and this was one of his better games. I'm going to give him a B, just based on I've seen lackluster performance from everyone. I'm just going to be honest. Like everyone's effort for me, it just wasn't there. But Mostert, out of everyone that we just discussed, Mostert came to play. Like you can tell Mostert, he wanted to be back on the field, and he wanted to show that he was the number one running back. And you could just see that in his strides and how he runs.
So I'm gonna go Mostert A. We know why. I mean, he was 8.2 a carry. I mean, he was a monster. I didn't see Derek McKinnon too much, so I can't really judge him. But if I didn't see him, he didn't play well. I would have said something. I give Juice A. I thought Juice blocked very well. I think he ran good routes. He was open at times too. He needed to get the ball. I'm a huge fan of Juice, so it's hard for me to be biased. He had a terrible game. Wilson Jr., like you said, I'm gonna give him a C. His average performance, I didn't really see him do much. Let's talk about the wide receivers. We got, you know who we got. So let's go on the wide receiver. Give me some grades.
Man, I feel bad for. Before I give you the grades, I really hope that Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk get a good quarterback. I don't want their careers to be like this because there's so much talent in this room, and these guys, you could like the balls are coming to the ground. They cannot give you yards after the catch if the ball's in the ground. But let's get back to the grades. So Brandon Ayuk, man, I'm really biased. When he's on the field, I'm like, man, he looks like a track runner out there, man. Like just the long strides, and he's catching everything that's coming his way. But to be honest with you, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a B. He didn't do anything outstanding. I think he caught the passes that came to him. I thought he was good with his blocking. I'm gonna give him a B. Deebo Samuel, C+. I'm gonna give Deebo Samuel C+. It wasn't anything negative that he did, but there wasn't anything special that jumped off the page for me that would compel me to give him anything higher than the C+. You know who I'm kind of mad at? KB, Kendrick Bourne with the drops. He scored a
touchdown though. He scored a touchdown.
He did,
and took it to the house like with 100% effort.
Did. And I'll say this:
remember? Like, okay, KB. Okay.
Do you think was it kind of in garbage time a little bit or no? Or was it in a situation where it was critical?
It was early third quarter. We was kind of making a comeback. I mean, so that was the time I felt like he had the desire to try to come back. You know what I mean? He was trying to play. Kendrick is the best. You gotta remember, he's like a slot guy. He shouldn't be playing number 2. He's like a number 3, number 4 guy. And he's really good at that. I mean, he comes in situational football. If he comes in we run in twins, 2 wide receivers. I mean, 4 wide receivers, two on each side, and KB's in there against their 4th DB. He's killing them, and that's why he's really good, man. But I get you on the grade though. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
So
and then George Kittle though, I know he's not a receiver, but what's going on? So it just feels like he can't get in that rhythm.
No, he's all right. I viewed it different. I viewed it as because I watched the game again, and these guys are open. They're just not getting the ball. It's hard. So I'm gonna give the receiving core a B, all of them.
Okay.
And tight ends included. And the only reason is because even that pick before the half. Our receiver was open on the dig route. Give it to him in his hands.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. When a bad quarterback is playing, everything looks bad. Everything.
Yeah.
The O-line looked
You're not lying.
horrible. So let's talk about this O-line. Look great as a core.
F. We look terrible. I looked at a stat. I think we're ranked 32nd in quarterback hits.
Oh, we was ranked number 1. Last week we was ranked number 1.
Like we're getting hit. Our quarterback's getting hit the most. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Our quarterback's getting hit the most. That's a fact.
So to see us take this step back from last season is just disheartening. And someone tweeted this. They said, man, losing Joe Staley, you're really feeling the loss of leadership. I mean, this offensive line is just not cohesive. They're not coming together. I think, like I spoke about this earlier, there's some communication issues. It goes back to Kyle Shanahan, real smart. I know he has these pre-snap reads, and I get that, but your team, your offense isn't flowing. There's no rhythm. Dial it back. You said it. Get your quarterback in rhythm. He can't get in rhythm. Why? He's getting blasted. He's dropping back, getting blasted. I mean, it doesn't help that there's a lot of, there's some coverage sacks there as well. Receivers are getting open, but sometimes I think there's a bit of coverage going on there. And so Jimmy G is taking unnecessary sacks, but the offensive line, they're not getting the push that they were once getting in run blocking and in pass protection. I'm afraid for whoever's under center for the 49ers because whoever it is, they keep taking hits, and the stats are proving that.
It ain't gonna get no better this week. So let's talk about let's talk about the D line. What is your grades? Because I'm sorry, my grade for the O line was an F also. But go ahead, D line.
Yeah, I think D line is doing the best they can. I really, really like Hyder. I think Hyder has that dog in him, and he's getting in the backfield. Eric Armstead, he's playing out of position, so we're not seeing the same performance that we seen last season. I get that. I'm just going to throw this out there. Buckner is having a great year. We'll stay there.
He
The
is.
defensive line.
He is.
The defensive line. I'll say this. I'm going to give them a C, and this is why we're getting no pressure. Okay, quarterbacks are just sitting back there. Their jerseys are clean, and then when quarterbacks decide, hey, there's no one open. When there's a coverage sack opportunity, they're just running up the middle on us, and it's something that I've been seeing since week one. Actually, it's something that I've been seeing since the 2019 season. Anytime you have a quarterback that has any sort of mobility. Like any sort of mobility, they run all over us. But if you're asking me about the grade, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give them a C.
So the D line, I'm going to give an F. Other than Hyder, I didn't really see him. We used to call him move him off his island. So when a quarterback drops back 5 to 7 steps, does he have to roll out of the pocket? If he's rolling out of the pocket, that's pressure from some side. If he's staying in there and he's looking at 1, 2, 3 reads, then there's no pressure, right? So we have to judge them based upon pressure. Pressure's almost better than sack because what that does is it moves you off your island and it makes your quarterback less accurate if he's not in his quarterback position to throw the ball. Well, I truly only see him out of his position not to throw the ball a couple times. And he was very accurate throwing the ball. And dropping it in the bucket. 38-year-old man dropping it in the bucket. 35-year-old man dropping the bucket. I mean, I was very disappointed in our D-line. Armstead had to show up. You're getting paid too much not to be a threat every game. We really miss Nick Bosa. I'm going to say that every week. Kinlaw's a great run guy, but he's not built for pressure right now. I know. They don't need to double team nobody on our D line right now. Nick's gone. So and then D Ford is injury walking. He probably got injured again, eating chips on his couch. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm worried. So let's talk about the linebacking core. What did you think?
Man, Quan Alexander, man, I don't know what's going on with him mentally, but and we keep talking about it. He's scaring me out there a little bit. I think he does well when you ask him to come up and make a tackle. I'm constantly seeing him out of position. I know his thing isn't coverage. I think he had a bit of a bad game.
Really? I viewed it different. We can talk about it though.
Yeah, I honestly believe that he had a bit of a bad game. I've seen a few times where Quan Alexander doesn't really know where to be. He's out of position. And it's a lot of times when we're running these zone schemes, I don't know if he doesn't know who to pick up. I don't know if he doesn't know the pocket to sit in. But there's a lot of times where the quarterback is just throwing it over the top of him or over the top of Fred Warner. And so we're getting picked apart kind of in the middle of the field on the outside hash of the field. I think our linebackers are still very, very talented. But I think without that pressure up front, you're starting to see people get exposed. And that's just what it is. I mean, it's a trickle down effect. Richard Sherman was great for all of those years, still great, but really great in Seattle based on the pressure they were getting up front. Once you remove that pressure up front, you know, his game started to change a little bit. Same with the Niners. Now that there's no pressure, quarterbacks are sitting in the pocket. They're sitting back there deciding, oh, do I want to throw it to 1, 2, or 3, right? And then if they want to do a zone, right, they do a zone and they're running right up the middle. I just think, man, I think the linebackers are doing the best they can. I think they're above average linebackers, but when your front line is just depleted with injuries, I don't see how you can still resemble what you were in 2019. Quan Alexander, I think he has regressed from the previous season, but Fred Warner shows up. He's another person. He shows up every single week, right? And he was another one of those guys that I thought gave 110% and did not show that he was giving in at all. And so those are the things that kind of make you happy. Greenlaw was back, but didn't look great. He's still on special teams, which is weird because he got injured on special teams, but so is Jimmy Ward. But Greenlaw, I think he has to work back into a rhythm because he wasn't showing me the flashes either. I don't know. Maybe it was just an all-around bad performance from the team, but no one showed me flashes besides Moser.
So I give the linebackers a B. I give them all a B. I think they all was pretty good. If you look at the big plays that were made, they were made against our corners and safeties. Even in the flats, defenders, when they throwing it to the flats, our guys are coming up and making plays. They wasn't running down a hole on us. You know, they wasn't coming in the hole. They wasn't doing nothing like that. I seen Quan. He's a really physical guy. He brings the hat. But that's another thing. I really thought our team this week, more than any other week, was out physical. Like we got our ass whooped. And a lot of that had to do because we just wasn't being physical offensively or defensively. We wasn't bringing it. It seemed like they were bringing it. Like every play, they were bringing it. So, yeah, I give them a B. I think they were doing a good job. I just think when you can't help what happens behind your head. Like let's talk about the DBs.
Okay.
So let's get into it. Let's talk about the DBs. I'm gonna start off. I think Jason Verrett was actually pretty good, man. Like Jason Verrett should start if Mosley don't come back full strength. Man, I love Mosley, man. But Jason Verrett is really, really good. Like he's starting to flash to me as being really, really good. Brian Allen just got scored on again. Like he is trash to the fullest, bro. Absolute garbage, hot garbage, trash. And after the first time he got beat, it was so bad that as a coach, how do you not say he ain't ready? Robert Saleh, he's not ready.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready. You can't put that young man in that position, man. Off the practice squad, number 48. I don't even know if he was wearing gloves. He was ugly in his uni. I was just like, oh my God, is this happening? Take him out.
Absolutely. He
What
was
did you
terrible.
think?
But I expected him to be bad. And you know, that's funny. Before you said the whole thing about the 48, I picked up on that. But I remember Fred Warner was wearing that number, and he still was
in college.
Wasn't he wearing 48? Didn't he? What number did he switch to on the Niners? Because he's had 2 numbers since he's played for the 49ers.
Maybe 48. It's probably why he switched it. Like,
Yeah. But when I seen Brian Allen come out and suit up in the 48, I already knew we were in trouble because you don't typically see any corners.
Bro, starting?
Yeah, you don't typically see that. So I knew
they probably seen Witherspoon like, what? You not going? What you mean you not going? All right, man, 48, go ahead and go, bro. Go ahead and go.
But I don't fault Brian Allen for playing like a practice squad player. I can't fault him for it. I mean, he was playing. Brian Allen was playing to the best of his ability. He was giving 110%. And he's not up to par with the receivers in this league.
I'm out of shape. And if I knew I had to run deep thirds against somebody in NFL. I will tell you, you can beat me on slants. You can beat me on digs. You can beat me on outs. You're not going to beat me over the top. I'm going to be 20 yards over your head. You're not going to beat me deep. You're not. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just, it was horrific. It was
from start
horrific.
to finish. From start to finish.
I have to give the core an F. Verrett did well, but I have to give them an F. They were horrible.
How much of this falls on Robert? Because I really
It
feel a
does
lot of
because
that
we didn't get
Yeah.
out of our scheme. I seen him when we went to
Yeah.
cover 2, but he still beat us in cover 2. That's another thing. Let's talk about these safeties.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jimmy. Like I told you, remember I told you about Jimmy getting beat. Jimmy and Jacarski Tartt. Let's talk about him.
Okay. Jimmy Ward is going to have to get removed from the team. That's just what this is. Jimmy Ward has showed time and time again he cannot be a starter for your defense. And if you want your defense
Overrated.
to be successful, yeah, he just cannot be a starter. Jaquaski Tart,
He's not bad.
he's not bad, but I don't think he does enough for your defense.
He's
to
not a star.
That there it is right there.
He doesn't
I think-
warrant a contract.
No, he doesn't. I think he does a decent job for the 49ers, but there's no star power there. There's nothing spectacular. He's not generating turnovers. And I think the 49ers, they have to kind of look at this. They have to look at Jimmy Ward. They're going to have to look at Tart as well. There's a bunch of people they're going to have to look at. But when you look at our safeties, I hate to say it, but you're definitely not going to see Ward next season. And I think Tart is on thin ice. I think a lot of players are on thin ice, but when you're talking of just strictly safeties, they're not generating turnovers. They're not batting balls down. There's just nothing happening on the back end that makes you feel confident in them playing for this team next season.
Yeah, I seen it in the cover 2 when we got beat. They split the covers in cover 2, and I know I know in cover 2 the free safety always takes the seam, so it don't matter what side of the field is coming from. You're the deepest man, and unless it's a go route up under you, and I got to look at the film and make sure that wasn't. But I do remember that post, an inside post from that number 2 receiver coming to split the difference. I'm like, yo, are we serious? Did that really just happen?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna take him. He just ran right by our guys. Done. I'm done. We need to redeem ourselves this week. I'm going to have my pencil and paper and write down every snap on defense this week. This week is defense for me. If we can play solid defense, if we can get pressure on Goff, we'll talk about this on Wednesday, but we have a solid chance of winning this football game. We have guys. We have some players we can play. You know what I mean?
No, I believe that. I think a lot of Niner fans, and myself included, let me not sit here in front. I get real emotional, right? Because I really care about the team. I love the team. I looked at the game and I said, you know what? Fire everyone, right? I'm like, Kyle Shanahan, obviously he can't call plays. Jimmy Garoppolo, this guy stinks. Like, I'm like, fire everyone. I had to dial it back down. Okay, it was a sample size. It was one game. Let's go ahead and look at next week.
Yeah.
But I know we're going to talk about next week, but it's more than one particular part of this team that has to improve.
Before exactly, we got a lot of missing pieces. But before we get out of here, do the 49ers make it to the playoffs this year?
No, 49ers are not going to make it to the playoffs this year. And if you are a realist, you would understand why. Look at your division. Okay, you're in a division where obviously the Seattle Seahawks, it looks like they're going to take the division. And it looks like Russell Wilson finally may get MVP, right? Then you look at the Rams. The Rams right now look better than the 49ers. Kyler Murray, he's a franchise quarterback, gives you a unique opportunity to win almost every single game. I don't see the 49ers as being a threat. 49ers just went through the weakest part of their schedule and have a losing record. You're about to get into the thick of things, and you're about to start facing quarterbacks that you just faced. I'm telling you, faced up a backup and he dropped over 300 yards on you. Imagine when you face Drew Brees.
Mhm.
And so we're going to have issues there. I just don't think this team makes it to the playoffs. I definitely don't see this team making it to the Super Bowl. My young 49er fan just walked in now. He doesn't believe that the team makes it either.
So I'm going to say this before we get out of here, man. I'm going to say I agree with you, but I will say I'm going to hold it for next week.
Okay.
For the game. We can beat the Rams. We can make it to the playoffs. If we can beat the Rams right now, this week, we can make it to the playoffs, man. You know what I mean?
I mean, this will be a step in the right direction, but I don't think this team can sustain wins. I mean, there's too many holes everywhere, and it's catastrophic losing Bosa. The defense has not looked the same since losing Bosa. I don't see this team making to the playoffs, and if they do make it to the playoffs, this is going to be a first round knockout. But I'm telling you, team's not making it. With what I'm seeing out of the quarterback play, you don't even have a chance in the game.
Hey, so join us Wednesday. We're going to be on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, man. We're going to bring it. That's our Do Better list. That's also predictions. We're going to have some film breakdown for the next game against the Rams. This game is over and done with, so I'm gonna be over and done with it now. I'm gonna leave this one in the past. I know going into this next game, I'll be fired up like I normally am.
Yeah.
Even if we only won one game, I'll be fired up going into the game. I love the Niners, baby, but I'm also going to understand that constructive criticism is what needed right now. No matter how good Kyle Shanahan is, no matter how good George Kittle is, no matter how good Debo and all these other guys are, we have gold standards, and those standards are very, very high. And Wednesday we're going to talk more about them and talk about how we can improve to win some football games. You got anything else before we leave, man?
Man, 49er fans, I know you're in doom and gloom, but don't be. Look at the team for what it is. You have some rookies that are playing really, really good, right? You have Brandon Ayuk. He's a star, right? Debo Samuel, he's a star. Okay? So when you're watching George Kittle, right, when you're watching these games, just look at the players and say, okay, there's something that we are going forward with. And like Akeem is saying, with consistent quarterback play, this team is going places, okay? Don't be in doom and gloom. There's always next week. Go red gold.
Go Niners. Man, we out of here.